this video, we're going to try and earn 1 million dinars in 1 year or less using only tactics a beginner can take advantage of. Let's get right into it. So we're going Batanian, mostly because of the location. Don't really care what he looks like. And what we're trying to do is bump up anything regarding endurance and smithing. So we're just going to cycle through these. Don't really care about the backstory. Endurance, we'll go there. And if you have to choose between getting an endurance point or getting a focus point, go with the endurance. It's much harder to get those than it is to get focus points. And again, on this one, we're going with the endurance point. Yeah, take that one. And if you're doing a campaign, you won't get to choose your age. So what we'll do is I'll pick 20 years old just so you can simulate. It's basically the same thing as if you're doing a campaign. That way we're not getting any extra points that you wouldn't normally get doing a campaign. So this will be equivalent to doing a campaign. Actually, campaign might be a little easier to do it because you do get a brother you can use. And of course, we're doing it on Bannerlord difficulty. It doesn't really matter. We're not really doing any combat, or not doing as much combat, I should say. So we'll go to the first town. Right away, we're choosing Batania specifically for this town. It may work in other towns. I haven't really tested it. First thing we do is buy all the hogs we can buy. And we can't afford it quite yet, so we got to dump stuff. Let's just sell our gear. We want to keep at least the horse. We don't need anything else beside that. Let's go to our secondary. Sell all of our clothes, and we'll keep the weapons. So you come back in, you select your hogs, and you hold down control. I don't know what it is on console, but there should be a button to slaughter all at once. So in this case, we're doing control. So we slice them all up into meat and hides. Now notice we've got 3,500 to start with, which is very, very good. We could do a little bit of smithing here since we've got some hardwood. I usually buy 6, and that should be enough to smelt these 3 down. And they shouldn't take up too much weight. Now we would like to get some kind of pack animal. Doesn't look like they have one. Now we can ride one of these, so why don't we do that? We'll buy a riding horse, swap it out. We do have a sumpter horse, which is a pack animal, so now we automatically start with a decent amount. And we have enough to buy it, but we don't have enough inventory space, so let's go ahead and put some of that back. We're going to go to a different town that has more, so it's not that big of a deal, and we want to look for a companion as soon as we can. Alright, so what we want to do is go straight to Sanon and try and avoid bandits. Alright, so we made it there. We do have option to hire somebody, so let's go ahead and talk to him. Hopefully he's not too expensive. Only 300, that's really good actually. So again, let's go into the trade. Let's get rid of all his stuff. Doesn't have a secondary weapon on his civilian outfit. That's fine though. Let's just sell all of his stuff so he's not taking up anything. We don't really need anything combat right now anyways. Now there is a ton of hardwood here, so let's buy everything that they've got. We still have some money left over, and we are going to need a little bit of food so we don't starve to death, so let's go ahead and do that. We also need to put our starting points, so let's go ahead and put that in. I'm going to spam out everything for smithing, and luckily this guy does have 1 focus point in his smithing, so that's going to help quite a bit, and he'll probably gain another couple levels soon. So essentially what we want to do is refine all this hardwood down into charcoal. Every time you do any kind of action in smithing, it takes stamina. So if you look at the stamina bar over here, you have 9 out of 108 because we already did a bunch of stuff. So every hour that you wait, it recovers some smithing stamina. To go from 0 to 100% requires 3/4 of a day. You want to wait half a day plus a little more, not quite the full thing. So we're about midday the next day, and that should be 100%. And you look right here, 98 out of 108, that's fine. If you over rest, you're just kind of wasting time, so I generally like to rest a little bit less. And again, we're just going to repeat this. I'll edit this out because this is probably the least interesting part of the of this guide. I'll see you back in a minute. We hit level 25 on our main character, and this is a no-brainer. Don't ever take efficient iron maker. It doesn't really make sense. Always take efficient charcoal maker, even on your secondary characters. Like this guy's not quite there yet, but we'll take efficient charcoal maker as well. This is just, I guess if they change the way smithing is in the future, it can be good. But for now, just avoid it. And we're just about done with all of the hardwood. So what we're going to do is sell some of this back. We don't need all of it. We used it mostly for XP. And let's see, actually, what else do we need? So this guy needs something to ride, and they don't sell any here, so that's going to be a little bit of an issue. Ideally, you want to get both of your characters mounted, and you want to have matching amount of pack animals. So we have 2 characters. We want to have at least 2 pack animals. That's the most we can get without having a herding penalty. And right now, obviously, we're severely overburdened, so we do need to sell some stuff. Let's make sure we don't sell the things that we want to keep. And I did actually forget to smelt that down, so let's go ahead and do that. Let's wait a little bit. And we are very low on money, so what we're going to do is we're going to craft something and sell it just so we have some wages for our companion. And we're going to be focusing on two-handed right now. There's 2 categories I do recommend using, either polearm, two-handed polearm, or two-handed sword. There's an argument to be made for these two as well, two-handed axe and two-handed mace, but they're just slower in general. So I generally like to start with two-handers. And me personally, two-handed sword, but polearm could be just as good. I find two-handed sword to be a little bit more reliable though, so that's kind of why I go that. Let's craft this. And we can actually make two, so let's make two. And we'll go ahead and sell the expensive one. We don't need to sell both, but we're going to have to get rid of some of this charcoal anyways. So let's go ahead and bring it down to a manageable amount. So we're not getting too big of a hurting penalty, or overburden penalty rather. That's fine, a little bit's fine. So we're going to get 2,200. We've got more than enough cash to survive. Now what we need to do... Yeah, actually, you know what we can do is start here. Let's go ahead and buy all the cheap stuff. So hatchet is a good one. Iron pitchfork is a good one. We need to get very, very low crafting materials. And if you're ever short on hardwood and they don't have any, like these guys have actually a decent amount again, so we'll just buy them out of that. But if they didn't have enough, you can buy wooden hammers or regular pitchfork. Iron pitchfork don't give you the materials you need for hardwood. They'll give you a little bit of hardwood, but you really want to find the regular, just regular pitchfork, no iron. And that'll give you plenty of hardwood. So let's come back in here. And again, you know the drill by now. Got rid of all that. We have nothing else to smelt here. So we go back into the two-handed sword. We'll make our two-handed sword here. And if you ever want to repeat it, there's a button right here that can help you bring up a previous craft. So you don't have to go back through and redo it. Let's make, I think we can make two of these. Well, we don't have a stamina for it. That's fine. All right, making our second one. Now what we're going to do is we're going to come up here. We don't need cash. We have plenty of cash to survive for now. So we're going to smelt. We're going to craft, and we ran out of one type of the crafting material, so we're just going to go back and forth between crafting, smelting, back and forth. And we do this because this is the fastest way you can do it without having to go town to town looking for crafting orders, because that'll just slow you down in the long run. So, all right, so we got one more, and now we don't have enough. We have 12 and 3. We need more wrought iron, which we can actually get very easily if we go in here and buy some of the cheapest stuff they have. So we'll buy Highland throwing dagger. We could probably buy the lowland throwing dagger. I don't know that we need that many, but let's just buy it just in case. And as you can see here, so yeah, we got 3 and 1, 4 and 1. That's perfect. That's exactly what we need. So we'll switch over to a guy. We're going to smelt these down. So essentially what we're doing is we're making a little bit of cash to survive off of, and then we're just getting enough materials to craft, smelt, back and forth. And then each time you do this, you're going to get new parts unlocked. So notice we've got quite a few more here. Actually, let's go with some new parts and see if we can get a little more XP out of it. I usually like to go to the parts that give you the most damage. That tends to give you a little bit more XP. Although you can experiment and just make a bunch of different kinds, see which item sells for the most, and then just keep making that, because XP is tied to how much money you make. So the more money you make on that craft, the more XP you're going to get. They go hand in hand. And let's see, yes, sometimes they rotate here, so you can see this guy, there was nobody here before, now he is. We are going to hire him. 430, can't afford that, we are broke. Let's go ahead and craft something real quick, and then we'll hire him. All right, we don't need too much here, he's only 400 dinars. Flat blade's not all that great for selling, so let's just stick to what we have. Let's make a few. We can afford to sell some, because again, we're low on money again. We need to make sure we have enough cash to buy crafting materials at the next town we go to. So you can see here, this is a significant amount of money. So we just made 4,500 bucks. And we're going to hire this guy. There's 400 out of the bank. Our wages go in up to 60 because companions are extremely expensive. But it's a necessary evil, and we're going to need them eventually anyways, so it's fine. What skills? Let's top off our smithing on our main character. We have another point. Now at this point, you build your character however you want. If you want to go combat, put it up here. If you want to go like somebody that's leading a big army, or you want to do a bandit, you go here. However you want to do it's up to you. I'm just going to put basic stuff. Actually, no, I'm not even going to level it up because we're not going to use it. So we'll just save it to the very end. You want to make sure you have at least a couple of each here. So we're going to have multiple companions. On our main party, we're going to try and handle all the smelting and all the smithing. And then on a couple of the companions, primarily they're going to be the steelmakers. Now what this does is this perk increases the rate at which parts are unlocked. Every time you smelt or every time you craft, you get a certain amount of XP that goes towards a crafting unlock. Now this perk doubles that amount. So if you would normally take 4 weapons to unlock a part, now it only takes 2 weapons to unlock a part. And then same thing over here with the smithing, is the exact same thing. If you have to craft 4 to get there, now you only have to craft 2 to unlock the next part. So it speeds it up dramatically. And again, the Steelmaker perks down here are very important on a companion because now you're not going to be reliant on smelting weapons to get more crafting materials. Because essentially what you need to do is, in the very beginning, we need to craft weapons that use these low tier stuff. So we don't need the high tier stuff yet, right? We can't even afford to do it because we don't have the, if you look at here, all these use low tier. There's nothing in here that we can build that's going to bump it up there. So, but very soon we will need it. And then you're going to run out of all this stuff. You're going to be stuck with low tier and you can't make the high tier expensive stuff. So, okay, so let's take quick stock of where we're at. We are overburdened. Let's see, actually, do these guys, they both cannot use a mount. So we need to go get them mounts. And let's sell his stuff. Let's make everybody naked. We're the naked smiths. It's just kind of our thing. It's kind of a weird thing, but that's fine. Now there's some more hardwood here. Let's just keep buying it. It's cheap and it'll give us some decent XP. Okay. All right. If you ever get that graphical glitch, just go into the town somewhere, like physically go in and then come back out. It'll clear it out. It's not a big deal. Let's go to smelting. And the only guy that's got some stamina left is the brand new guy we just hired. And then we're going to use him to take down all this hardwood. Let's wait a little bit, and then we can do it again. And remember, we got the level 25 perk on our main character, who gets 2 hardwood for 3 charcoal, as opposed to 2 hardwood for 1 charcoal. So we want to use it on our main character. And until the next guy gets it, then we'll switch it to one of these guys. We're not going to avoid doing it, just because these guys don't have it, but that should be fine for now. All right, now let's go back to forging. And what we'll do, I think we can make a couple of these at least. And then again, we're going to go back and forth, smelting and smithing. You actually unlock parts twice as fast for smelting. This is why we don't sell our weapons. We only sell enough to make money to survive. And then beyond that, we want to smith and smelt, smith and smelt. Don't worry about anything else. If you try and make money now, you're going to cut yourself short. It's better to delay your gratification until towards the very end, when we have really high tier weapon part unlocks. That's when you make your money. So just be a little patient and we'll get there. What we need to do is come up here to a horse farm and try and get some things that they can ride. So these guys can ride a mule. Now we have a sumpter horse. Let's buy 3, so we're maxed out there. And then a workhorse. Now our movement speed is going to be just about max. So everybody's mounted. We've got enough to haul more stuff now. We just need to make sure we don't get captured. And what we're going to do is we're going to stay away from the Battanian lands. Actually, we're going to go down to the Empire lands. And you'll see why in a little bit. We'll go over that in just a sec. So we're going to travel down there now. Okay, we made it to Epicrodia. Let's see if they have a companion, and they do. 400 bucks, again, not a big deal. We can afford it. So let's take her weapon off, sell everything. Sorry, lady. You're going to be showering with the boys today. We do, at some point, want to start buying some of these things. Well, let's hold off on that for just a minute. Now, they don't have any hardwood here, and we still have a little bit of charcoal reserve, so that's fine. If the town does not have hardwood, and you have a little bit of charcoal left, again, you can buy wooden hammers, or you can buy, they don't have it here, but it would be the regular pitchforks. And what I always recommend doing is starting off on the orders with your main character. If there's a good two-handed, there's nothing in here that's anything worth trying. I would save the crafting materials. I wouldn't do these, but if you can get like a two-handed sword, it's going to be really good. Crafting orders are really good. They're just really slow because you have to go town to town looking for them. So now what we need to do is buy some more items that we can smelt down. So they don't have any hardwood. Let's just buy some stuff that we know will smelt down. Blacksmith hammers are probably the best item you can buy in the early game for smithing. So these are going to give us the crude iron, and it's going to give us a little bit of hardwood so we can keep up with it. And then anything that's less than 200 dinars is usually going to be a good buy. So like this pickaxe is fine. This short militia spear is fine. These are all, again, under 200. We'll definitely take them. I wouldn't go with any of these other ones. Don't spend more than 200. You're not going to be able to use the higher end crafting materials anyway. Same thing here. We don't really need to go that high. So let's go back, smelt these bad boys down. And remember, we do have the smelting perk on our main character. So let's go ahead and use all of that first. And let's save a little bit of room for him because, oh, actually this one has refine as well. Oh, we didn't pick the perk. Let's go pick the perk. Yeah, so our first companion does now have efficient charcoal maker. So now we can designate him as the charcoal maker if we want. Let's go ahead and smelt the rest down with our main. So he doesn't have quite enough. Let's go with one of these spare guys. Let's go back to our level 25 guy, the one that has the efficient charcoal maker. So again here, see if we switch it to one of these guys, we're getting 2 to 1. It's not good. We switch it to the guy that has the perk, it's 2 to 3. It's much better. So let's go ahead and smelt these down. We do have enough to start crafting and smelt him back down. So let's go ahead and do that. And again, let's keep looking for a decent blade. Now we have the long war sword. This Lung Cascara is a little bit higher on the damage, so we're going to switch it out. Actually, I think the guard we had was pretty good, so we'll keep that. We want to go with the highest tier crafting item we can go, so we'll stick to the tier 2 handle there. And again, here, let's switch it out. This one usually does more damage, right? 89 to 85. Pretty much everything is going to be around 85, 86. So this is going to be the best one. We'll just stick there. And let's craft. Move on to the next person, and we don't have enough crafting material, so what we're going to do is smelt. And we go back to crafting, and we just go back and forth. This is the life. This is the life we chose. All right, so everybody needs to rest. We've probably unlocked quite a few things. We'll see in just a minute. Okay, let's go. Also, one thing I forgot to mention. When you're unlocking parts, when you get the message at the top of the screen that says you unlocked a part, you're not going to see it unless you exit and come back in. I don't think they patched it, so I believe you have to exit and then come back in. So just be aware. If you see something good, just exit, come back in, and then you should be able to see it. So we got our two-handed. Let's see if we got any upgrades here. I don't think anything's going to be an upgrade until we get tier 2 parts, so let's just keep going back and forth. Now, we'll use somebody else that's not our main character, because our main character is going to want to be the smelter because he has the 2x on the smelting. So we'll just keep going back and forth. Now we're getting to that point where we have more crude iron than we have wrought iron. So we can do two things. We can either buy some stuff to supplement that, which may not be a bad idea. We have plenty of money. Well, we're actually not that well on money. Let's buy a couple of these. So it's 600 bucks. And that actually gives us more iron than it does wrought iron. So that's probably not going to cut it. But that's not a big deal. Let's go ahead and craft a few things. And we'll sell these this time, just because we need the money. On the refining page, remember where we were doing the hardwood to charcoal? There's other things you can do. Like you can turn crude iron into wrought iron. You can turn wrought iron into iron, and so on and so forth. When you get the perks, those steelmaker perks that I showed you earlier, that's how you get these crafting materials. We're not going to need to buy too much of that because we're going to get most of ours from weapons that we buy from the shop. So it's not too important, but it's nice to have it. So why don't we do this? Let's sell what we had. That'll be more than enough for us to survive. 2,200 is plenty. Let's go to a different town and see if we can find some hardwood because we are starting to run low. Now there is hardwood down here in the Empire Land in Popsia, so let's head down that way. We'll probably stop at Seniopa first, and then we'll head to Popsia and Lycran right after. So it kind of helps if you plan it out. It usually makes more sense to buy the hardwood up here in the Botanian lands, because if you see up in this area, this is like the little Bermuda Triangle. You got hardwood, hardwood. There's another hardwood over here, right here, so that's 4. There's also one down here, 5, by Uthalim Castle. There's just a lot in the Botanian lands. So hardwood's really easy to acquire over here. But they don't have the daggers that we need, so we're going to need those pretty soon. So let's just head to Seniopa and we'll continue from there. All right, so we made it okay, and there is an arena here. So we're going to want to do every arena we come across. Also, if we happen to win, we will get some renown, which, as you'll know, smithing does not earn you any renown. So you're going to need something at least. Also, just in case you're curious, you can level your companion if you get into a tournament with them together. Just let him attack all he wants. Just keep blocking. He's going to get XP every time he does. Alright, there we go. So he did gain some athletics for doing that. We showed no mercy to to our companion, but that's fine because we need to earn this. This money is going to help a lot. We don't have to sell stuff. We can just focus on smithing. And that Hunsfree is... that Hussenfree? I don't even know how to pronounce that. Hussenfree is going to be worth a lot. Yeah, 3,800. That's pretty good. I mean, there's ones that suffer more now with the new patch, but it's a pretty good start. And hardwood, they have a little bit. It's very expensive, though. So you can see here it's going to cost us 65 each. Do they have pitchforks? They do. This one costs 96, but we're going to get 2 hardwood out of that. So that's a good trade for us. Iron pitchforks are good. Again, anything under 200 is probably going to be a good buy here. Yeah, all these are going to give us exactly what we need. And if they have throwing daggers, these are really good throwing daggers when we get to the later stages of our smithing career. It's going to be Pugio daggers or tribesmen throwing daggers. We're not quite there yet, so all right, we're up to 6k now, and we don't have enough room for anybody else, so it's just going to be us 4 for now. Again, we're starting with the orders. There's a 2-handed sword, which is beautiful. Let's go ahead and build what we can. We're not going to get it anyways because the difficulty's too high. We're going to get a bunch of debuffs when we craft, but that's fine. We'll just get it as close as we can, and that should be fine. Yeah, I think this is good. And we do need a little bit more crafting material, so what we're going to do is switch over here. Let's make at least 4 there. So we refined enough crude iron into wrought iron. Now we go back to our smith and try and complete that order. So again, we failed, but we still made 1196, which is way more than we would have made if we sold it to the shop. And we got a ton of XP for it. So those ones give you anywhere from like 10 to 20 XP. So it's like crafting 10 to 20 of those same weapons. It's pretty insane. So if you can find those are good. But let's continue what we were planning on doing. So we do need more of these mid-tier. Yeah, see, we are starting to run low on charcoal and hardwood. So let's get as much as we can before we run out. We'll switch to the guy that gets the 2 for 3. Back to these. And we can get one more 2 for 3. So we're at 13. When you're this low on hardwood and charcoal, it's probably not a good idea to refine. We would be better off buying weapons. So let's just keep moving. Let's go to Popsia. So we made it. Not too bad. And there's quite a bit of hardwood here. This is a risk because it's going to slow our movement speed down. Not too much, though. We're still moving at 5.0. Generally, that's about what enemies will move at. So not really too big of a risk. And we do have Botania, so... Botanian character, so if we run through forest, it's not going to really slow us down. So let's head over there. All right, we made it okay, and we did gain a level, and this is on our main character, so let's go ahead. I would normally not recommend putting any more than 8 points because you can get an extra endurance from this perk right here, Healthy Citizen, and you get another endurance right here from an Enduring Smith. So you get 2 attribute points. That'll boost this up to 10. Now, I'm going to do it now because we're not going to be putting points into athletics and going that route just for this specific playthrough. But if this was a legit campaign, I would not recommend going above 8 endurance. Put it somewhere else. Have your athletics nice and high. Have your smithing nice and high, and you'll get those free attribute points. And you'll also pick up either 2 control or 2 vigor or 1 of each because both of these has these perks as well. So you can see in both athletics and smithing, there's 2 free attribute points in each one. So really, really good skill tree to go in. These totally irrelevant. Like I said, we're just going to pick stuff just to get it off our screen. In your campaign, you can build it however you want. All right, so it's a Costian. These things are extremely expensive. So when there's big loot on the line, you better make sure you win this, man. Be very, very careful. All right, so we didn't bet too much on this one. I knew there was a big enough price pool there. We did make it, so let's see what this thing sells for. I believe it's well above 10k, like in the 15. I believe it's in the 15 range. Yeah, 14.5, really, really strong. We can't use it because writing needs level 90, so obviously we're just going to take the money and run like a bandit. So we don't have to worry about pricing for most stuff at this point. So let's just keep buying. We have plenty of that low tier stuff, so what we need to do is actually start focusing on the higher tier stuff. Let's see if they have some throwing daggers. They have some. It's not going to be the ones we want. There's throwing daggers that are worth about 200, and they don't really have that here. So that's not going to help us too much. Yeah, I think what we're going to do this time... Now, this is one thing you have to be a little bit flexible with because you're never going to get exactly the same each time. All these items are RNG each time you load in. So in this case, what we're going to do is we are going to refine because we do have enough hardwood now. I think we can afford to do it. So let's just top off our hardwood, making sure to use these guys. And then we will use these to smelt since we bought some hardwood only smelt stuff. So let's get those down. All right, so we're plenty rested. Let's just keep refining down so we can build up that hardwood stack. And then we're going to use all that charcoal to bump all of our crude iron. Well, not all of it, but we're going to bump a lot of our crude iron up to wrought iron. So let's just keep doing that. So essentially all we're doing is we're converting charcoal into wrought iron. That's really what it is. We got a pretty decent stack here. Let's rest. We'll do some more smithing. All right, we're ready to go. Let's see. I don't think we have any good upgrades just yet. We need a few more unlocks. Yeah, so we're just going to smith and smelt. Actually, we do have the smelting perk on this guy, so let's smith with somebody else. And then we will smelt with our main character. So you always want to try and do as much efficiency as you can. Actually, let's keep going. That's fine. Now let's smelt all these down. And again, we just got double the XP because we decided to do all the smithing with our non-main character and then all the smelting with the main character. All right, so they're all tapped out. Let's go ahead and use that up. Now we still have resources. We're not going to slow down. We just keep using as much as we got. All right, we are tapped out now. Let's go ahead and rest. And we're going to keep smelting. We got level 65 on our main character. That's not too bad. Now we do have a little more that we can convert for the hardwood, and then again we're gonna keep pushing that crude iron up to wrought iron. That way we can smelt craft a little bit more. You need to do this for a little bit, and then once you get past that initial stage, when you get tier 2, tier 3 parts, it goes much faster. See, here we go. We got our first tier 2 blade. Unfortunately, I don't think this one's worth a whole lot, but we're going to use it anyways because I think it's worth more than the base one. Again, you want to focus on stuff that sells for more. Selling price equals XP. Okay, and we got a tier 2. So we're pretty much everything tier 2 except for our cross guard, or whatever they call that. All right, let's see what this thing sells for. So let's make a few of them. And we're not going to sell it anyways. We don't need it. But yeah, you can see it's well above what the other one was doing. So it's 4 times. The other stuff we were making was 500 to 600. This one's right about 2 grand. And everybody's tapped out. So let's go ahead and rest and do it again. Again, we're going to start with the guys that are going to be crafting. Yeah, and again, as you run out of stuff, just go back, smelt. That'll free up more resources. And you'll see how quickly this starts to snowball. It really is a snowball effect. It's exactly what it is. Now, one thing we are running dangerously low on is charcoal. So let's go see if they have any hardwood. And if they do not have hardwood, which they don't, let's see if they have any stuff we can smelt. They do not, so it is probably time to move on to Newtown. And we are out of food. Make sure you check your food. I'm horrible at that. You'll see me starve my guys all the time. And you got to be careful, because if you starve your troops, you will actually lose some traits. Like right now we have the daring trait. There's some other traits that you can lose if you starve your people out, and it's extremely difficult to get it back. So again, we're going charcoal maker, and we'll just leave the points in our main character. Sweet. So the next town, what we could do, we could ask the tournament director to see where the next tournament is. We don't want to go out of our way to go to one, but if there's one that's right next to us, then we'll want to take that. All right, so you get through all these options, and at the end they'll say, are there any tournaments going on in nearby towns? Vostrom and Zeonica. So if it's exactly 1 stop away, we will do it. Vostrom and Zeonica. So Zeonica's over here. Vostrom's over here. We could do Poros to Zeonica, or we could go straight to Vostrom. I think Poros first is probably a better option. So let's go there, and we'll see in a minute. All right, made it there okay. We got a little bit of hardwood we can buy, and again, we have plenty of money. We don't care at all about the cost. We're doing just fine. So we'll buy, let's see. Don't think we need too much of that. Let's see if they have... They don't have the good stuff that I would like. Let's check the Spiked Club out. Anything a little over 200 might be okay. That's generally a good indication that it's got the materials that we need, but let's find out. All right, Spike Club does not have the good stuff, so we'll skip making those. Actually, I think we're better off just sticking to what we got. Let's keep crafting here. And again, tournament here, we're gonna do it. There's a scalpel. All right, we got the scalpel. We did, like I said, we didn't bet too much, and we got a little more renown. That's gonna help us if we get to clan tier 1 because we gain enough renown. Then we'll be able to take 1 more companion, which will help speed up our process here just a little bit. Not too much. I think 3 or 4 is probably more than enough, but you know, the more the merrier. And we don't need to sell anything because we are in good shape. We'll just smelt all this stuff down. Yeah, see, the tournament prize is not even worth what we can make, so probably not that big of a deal. Now, I think at this point we might want to go back to the Botanian lands, because then we can get plenty of hardwood, load up, and then come back down. So why don't we do that? I think that's probably a good plan. All right, Jamaris has a tournament again, so we're just going to keep doing these. Like I said, they don't cost you any time. All right, so we got the ambassador, which again, not worth as much as the other stuff that we've got. Let's see, and we don't have any charcoal, so we can't smelt any. Even if we could buy like the pitchfork for hardwood, we can't even use it because we don't have anything to even start it with. Oh, we do have hardwood. Okay, I'm an idiot. Yeah, so we'll buy the pitchfork. There's no wooden hammers here, so we'll skip that. And they don't have the good daggers. Usually in the 200 range is what we're looking for. These ones have good iron, but we can't use iron yet. So very soon we will use iron, though. All right, let's go ahead and do the smelting with our main character, as we discussed. And we'll go ahead and smelt these down. Yeah, this is really good. These are very, very high-end materials for a weapon that only sells for 1,400. And same thing with the scalpel, not quite as high, but for 800 dinars, that's well worth it. So we're gonna keep those. Let's use somebody else to smelt these dumpy ones. We'll use our secondary to refine charcoal. So we're all good there. Let's keep making weapons. Now let's see if we have an upgrade here. We should. Yes, we do. So our crossguard is going to be able to go to tier 2. Now, one thing you can do is hover your mouse over each of these and see what they cost. So see, this one is a tier 2, cost wrought iron. This one is tier 2 and costs 2 iron. So some of them you get way better value. A lot of wrought iron. And for some reason, this one costs 2 iron. So don't use this one. That's just a waste of resources. So we'll just pick any of these. It probably doesn't matter too much at this point. I'm tempted to see which one's better between these two. So what we're going to do is we're going to craft one, switch the weapon, craft the other. And let's go check the shop to see which one is actually worth more. So you can see there's a pretty big difference here. This is, I don't know, what is that, like 20-30% more. That's a pretty big difference. So we don't know what it is till we look at it. So it is the curved blade. The curved blade actually gives more money, which means more crafting experience. So let's go back and smelt it down, and we're going to make sure we replace the main one we're using to level up with the curved blade. So where are you, curved blade? This one. This is the iron scimitar. Now again, it's going to be almost impossible. Ooh, and the iron saber. Actually, that one's pretty good too. Let's craft this one and see. I think the last one was 2,500, 2,400. That's actually almost the same. There's a little bit of variability because we probably got some debuffs on it. So I would say those are equally the same. Let's see which one costs less to craft. So this is 3 iron. This is 3 iron. Doesn't matter. You could use either one. Let's just use the long skinny one. That's fine. Okay, so we're back here. Let's go ahead and make as many as we can before we run out. And we did run out of iron, which we can fix a little bit easier. Let's go ahead and smelt these down. All right, so this guy's out of stamina. You don't need to min-max this and rest. Don't waste any time. Just use whoever you have available. Just make sure you use the one that has the bonus first. That's all I ask. Just have a little bit of efficiency there. And next day, back at it again. Actually, we're out of iron. So what we need to do is smelt these down. And we can probably start buying some of those nice daggers. I think we're at the point where we can afford to use them. So let's come in here. We're going to buy all of them. The Tribesman daggers and the Pugio. These two are the best crafting material weapons you can buy in the game. They're very cheap, and they give you really high-end crafting materials. We're going to buy the broadblade throwing knives as well because they're going to have a lot of the lower tier that we need, whereas these are only going to give us 1 or 2 of each. This one's going to give us 3. So we want both for now, but eventually we're only going to want the Tribesmen, and we're only going to want the Pugio. So those two. We're not going to use our main character to smelt these because these aren't worth hardly any XP. These are just a waste. So we're just going to use one of our other people to do that. Let's go ahead and make some stuff. Oh, we are actually running low. We're running low on hardwood. Let's go ahead and refine. Let's make as many as we can. And let's just smelt everything. Let's see what we get. So we're down to 3. Let's save that last 3 just because we can. And we did hit another tier of our smithing. So we got perk 75. We're going to use Curious Smith because that's going to double the unlocking parts when we smith stuff. Again, we're going to try and get a companion up to Steelmaker. So we'll save that for them. All right, we need a ton of hardwood. So let's stop at Lagetta first or Rote. I think we'll do Lagetta. It's a little more linear, and then we'll come up here and grab some hardwood, and then we'll go on our merry little way. And you know the drill by now. Ooh, another Kosian. Tons and tons of money here. All right, we did win, and we got that almost 15k Kosian. That's a really, really good pickup there. And we do have room. I believe we have 4 people. Oh yeah, that's right. We didn't get a horse for this lady. Yeah, they don't have any pack animals here for her to ride, so we'll just stick to what we got. Now, they do have some hardwood. It's pretty expensive. Not really that big of a deal, but I'd rather not slow down. We will buy their Pugio and Tribesman daggers, though. Let's do that. And might as well, we'll buy the broad blade. And let's head back up. Sanon's really the one that has most of it, so we'll go straight there. All right, let's see what they got. And first, before I forget, let's go ahead and give our lady something to ride that'll boost our party speed up, and then we'll pick up another Sumpter. So now we have 4 party members, 4 Sumpter horses, 490 carry capacity, so we can really carry around a lot of this hardwood that we're going to buy. We can't carry all of this. This is too much, obviously. So we'll do a little bit of craft smelting here, and then we'll move on to the next town. Now these guys, this is what I was talking about. Highland Throwing Dagger, the Lowland Throwing Dagger, and the Leaf Blade. These are really good for that mid-tier, so we'll buy up all that they got there, and let's see what these things are worth. So as you can see, the Tribesmen are the best. Then you got these other ones. So the Lowland have a ton of the wrought iron, which is really low, and then the others have a decent amount of each, both iron and wrought iron. So not too bad. We're going to use all of this stuff up. All right, waited 3/4 of a day. Let's go ahead and smelt some of this stuff down, and we do need to refine first, so let's handle that. Every time you do this, you do a round of crafting and smelting. Just make sure you check to see if you have any of the next tier. So right now we've got only tier 2 on the blades. Tier 3, actually, for some reason I forgot to switch that out. So let's switch that out with one of these tier 2s. And no tier 3 yet, no tier 3 yet. So we're good. We'll keep it tier 2, all tier 2 parts for now. All right, now as you can see, we had a lot of crafting materials. We haven't used through all of it. We used through 3 companions worth of stamina, just making a ton of weapons. So we're going to get an ungodly amount of unlocks by doing this. So We don't even have enough stamina to deal with it, but let's see what we got. There's going to be some, for sure, there's going to be some unlocks there. We might even have some tier 3 stuff. And we do. We're in tier 3. Perfect. Tier 2 there, tier 3 there, tier 3 there. So only thing we aren't tier 3 yet is the crossguard. As soon as we rest up, we'll go back in. We'll find a nice two-handed weapon recipe that uses mostly tier 3 parts, and we'll continue. Okay, so let's get in here and do some finagling. What we need to do is find a good tier 3. Now, last time we had good luck with that curved blade. I think we're going to go the same route. Again, you can A/B test. You just craft a couple different weapons, make sure the blades look different enough, or switch something on it like the handle so you know which one it is, because sometimes it's really hard to tell. Or you can write in the description when you craft it, just make sure you write. So this would be like falchion blade, this would be straight saber, this would be Y-fuller, so whatever. So that way you know which one it is, because it can be really confusing. Why don't we do that? Let's A/B test just to see what that means. And A/B test just means you try one compared to the other. So we got tier 3 parts on all these things. Again, it doesn't really matter which one we're going here. Let's just pick one and go with it. Now we'll do the first one with the straight saber. Second one we'll do with the falchion blade. I think we should at least try this Flisa, however you pronounce it. And I don't think this one's going to do well, but we'll see. Oh, we can't build it anyways. All right, there we go. So we got 4 weapons to try out. Now it's pretty clear which one it is. This 8K is very strong. This would be a close second, but really that's enough difference to where you should make an effort. So it's slightly curved. Yeah, slightly curved. Let's see where the other ones came in at ranking wise. So this is the one that's heavily curved. So that one did pretty well. I believe this is the falchion. Yeah, so the falchion didn't do too bad, but it's not that great. And this is probably that last one we did. Yep, that's the last one. I had a feeling this wasn't going to do that well. For some reason, the curved blades really do well. I don't know if that's a thing or not, but that's kind of just observation. So let's smelt all these down. We'll go back to the drawing board, two-handed. And again, let's go find that blade that we had. Oh, we added more blades. More blades to figure out which one it is. It's the slightly curved one, so I believe it's this Flicia. Yeah, because this one has a really heavily curved blade. It's not that. It's going to be this one. Got it. And we probably have a tier 3 here. Yes, we do. Okay, so we're going to upgrade the handguard to tier 3 as well. That's going to give us even more XP when we craft. All right, so we got our recipe ready. Let's go down the list starting at the bottom and work our way up so we can, again, smelt with our main guy. And we're out of steel, which is fine. Let's go ahead and smelt these back down. So if that's the case, we are starting to run out of steel. Let's go ahead and craft something that's slightly less. And the majority of the steel, or actually all of the steel, is in fact coming from the blade. So let's pick something that uses iron. So like this falchion blade would be good. Let's just craft some stuff with this. Actually, what we need to do is probably use up the wrought iron. Let's find something that's got wrought iron, and we'll sell some of it. This is a tier 3 that uses wrought iron, so dinky blade, probably not going to be worth a ton, but it's also not going to cost us a ton. So no big deal. All right, now this thing was not worth much at all. 2,000. I think what we'll probably do is smelt it back down. Yeah, I don't think it's worth to even bother with those, to be honest. So we'll avoid doing that. Let's just try and find more crafting materials that are going to fit what we're looking for. We need to find... And also what we can do now, we do have those Steelmaker perks, I believe. No, we don't. We need level 50, actually. So we're very close to it on this guy. And once we get that, we can start converting this wrought iron into regular iron, which is going to be good. But on the bright side, we're not overburdened. And we do have, we do need a little bit of food. Let's not starve. We're slightly overburdened, but again, it's not going to really make a difference there. So we'll stick with it. Let's go ahead and make our rounds. We're gonna make a loop. We're going to all the Empire towns, all these, and we'll try not to backtrack. So I'll meet you at Epicrodia. And again, we're looking for Pugio. They have 4 here. That's exactly what we need. And Tribesman Dagger, they got another 3. And we'll buy the Broadleaf Dagger just because we can. No hardwood. We'll check for that each time just in case they have it. But let's go ahead and smelt some of these things down. All right, beautiful. We got a little bit of steel, not a ton, but probably enough to where we can make a few of these things. And since we are kind of limited, let's go ahead and use our main character. He does have the perk for both smithing and smelting. Let's just do that and then try and get this guy up to level 50 so we can get his second perk. We did hit level 100 smithing on our main character, so let's see. It's either a 10% chance of getting a decent weapon It's got a +2 bonus to stats, or the Steelmaker 3, which gives you Themyscene Steel. Frankly, I don't really use Themyscene Steel weapons all that much. Even when I have infinite resources, I feel like they're just not as good as the Falk's Blade. They can be useful in some cases, but I generally find the Experienced Smith to be a little better. They do sell for more too, so that's something to keep in mind. And we do hit level 25 on one of our companions, so that's good. And some of these people are getting kind of close to leveling up. We'll be able to put more focus points into smithing when they do, so that'll help us out just a touch. And we're not quite at the point where we need to worry about money. Again, we can sell 1 or 2 weapons, stay in the game, and then that'll allow us to afford even more weapons at the next place we go to, so we can keep buy, smelt, craft, all that stuff. Yeah, so it looks like we're going to run into the bottleneck of steel. So why don't we keep moving on? Let's see if we can find some more weapons that we can buy from the next town. Let's go to Diathma next. And they do have 5 Pugio. That's going to help quite a bit. And they should have some tribesmen. 6 tribesmen. That's really good. And no hardwood, so we do have to be a little careful. Oh, they have some charcoal, interestingly enough. We'll buy it. We don't need it, but we will buy it. Yeah, so again, don't worry about spending money. If you need to sell a weapon here and there, you got plenty, and it's going to give you 10k each time you do it, so it's really not a big deal. Let's smelt these down. We do have about 5 of these. I think we have a little bit of stamina left. Sometimes I'll wait, sometimes I won't. We're just going to smelt them down just to speed this up a tiny bit. You know, let's sell one now just so we don't have to worry about it later in case we have to buy a bunch of stuff. So we're sitting on 25k, which is pretty good. And we do have the first person to reach level 50 on smithing. So Steelmaker for this guy, for sure. We don't need another Curious Smelter. We'll probably have maybe 2 of each if we can get there, all the way down. So 2 and then 2 of these. We'll spread it out between the companions and our main character. So that one's pretty much bought out. Let's go around the outside. So we're going to go Argeron, Amprella, Myzea, Cyrenea. They do have a tournament here. It might be worth waiting for. Let's see what they have. They've got a couple Pugio, a couple tribesmen. Again, this is not quite enough to make us happy, but better than nothing. They don't have hardwood, but what we'll do is we'll just buy some wooden hammers and some regular pitchforks, and that's going to supplement. Ooh, Tile Horse. That thing's worth a lot as well. So not that money is an issue at this point. We've got stuff that sells for 2k, but that's fine. It's better than not getting it, right? Yeah, we want it. And as the rich people say, I don't need the money, but I take the money. So we will take the money. Let's go ahead and smelt some of the stuff down. And we can refine because we are running low on charcoal, so let's just spend the rest of our stamina here to do that. We'll get topped up. Beautiful. Let's see if we have a tier 4 yet. Do we have any tier 4? Doesn't look like it. Yeah, so we're pretty close. And if you ever want to... Yeah, we're right there. We don't have any more tier 3 parts there. A couple of tier 3 grips we still need. Only 1 handle. And 2 blades. So we're right there. We're right there. Alright, so we craft smelted the last of that. Let's see if we actually have tier 4 now. We might. Yep, we do. We got our first tier 4 blade. And it only costs fine steel, which we have a decent amount of because we haven't been using it. We've got tier 4 handguard. Even a tier 4 handle and the trifecta. Yeah, we got all tier 4. This is beautiful. We're going to be steamrolling through this now. This is going to go really fast. Now what we're going to do before we move on, let's go ahead and refine. We've got a ton of iron and we have very little steel. So we're going to just spend a bunch of this hardwood and just converting it over. So now we can craft some decent stuff. Let's go back to our main guy. Let's upgrade these. So there's only 1 we can build here. Obviously, that's the only choice. There's 2 here. Doesn't really matter because they both cost the same. And it doesn't really matter either because you're going to smelt them down anyways. So when you smelt, I think I forgot to mention this earlier, but when you smelt something, so say take this sword for example. This costs 3 fine steel and 3 steel. What it does is it takes, when you craft it, it costs these materials. And when you smelt it, you don't get this back. You get all of this back except for the highest crafting material. So in this case, it's 3 fine steel. You get 1 less of that. And it becomes 1 steel. So you craft for 3 and 3, and you get back 2 fine steel and 4 steel. So it's not a 1-to-1 ratio. You can't just go back and forth infinitely. You will lose 1 of your top material and get 1 more of the second top material. So hopefully that makes sense. So I'll show you right here. So again, you get 2 and 4. So it's not quite exactly there. So you will drain the top material. Doesn't matter about this one because you get all of it back plus a little extra. All right, we crafted a ton of stuff there. I bet you we got some decent unlocks from that too. We're really looking for a couple things here. Don't have it yet. I don't see the Falx blade, and I don't see the falchion, the tier 4 falchion blade. Yeah, the pointed falchion blade. This one's really good, and also the Falx. As soon as we unlock those, we don't have to worry about unlocks anymore. It's pretty much GG. Whatever that means in smithing. We're not really fighting anybody. All right, let's smelt these down. And we are starting to run a little bit low on charcoal, which is kind of concerning, but I don't think it's alarming quite yet. Let's go ahead and move to the next town. I think we soaked up just about everything we can there. Let's go to Umbrella next. And I'm really hoping they have hardwood. They got a little bit. That's fine. And then again, we go back here. They don't have what we need. We will buy the items that are going to craft for hardwood since we can supplement with those. So that's fine. And they do have tribesmen. I mean, it's not the end of the world. We'll take tribesmen. And we're going to keep converting this iron into steel. You know, honestly, we probably don't need it too much. I'll show you why. Let's actually stop there. Let's go ahead, go back to our craft smelting. We do have some new blades. Yeah, some of these are really, really strong. I think it's probably the ridge saber is going to be the strongest, but let's do our A/B testing just so we can tell. Now, you can do the same thing for the other parts, but I don't find that they change it too much. If you want to min-max, you can. We're just trying to breeze through this so we can get to the end somewhat quickly. So what we'll do is we'll just choose the one that uses less materials. So see, this one costs 2 steel, this one costs 1. We'll just stick with that. It's really not a big deal. Same thing down here, 3 steel, 1 steel. We'll stick with the 1 steel. And one thing, if you can find a handle that gives you both one-handed and two-handed options, those usually sell for more, but we can A/B test that as well. Okay, now let's try our little experiment. So I think in this case, we're just going to use these 3. Again, I don't really want to go too crazy on this. It's probably not that big of a deal, but you can if you want. All right, we got a scimitar, so that's good. Let's try the scimitar. Oh, I forgot to raise it all the way up. And let's also try these 2. Oh, we don't have enough. Okay, let's see which one's worth. They're actually all very, very close. This one's slightly ahead, but it's pretty much negligible. So the really curvy blade, whatever that one is, I think that's probably the ridged saber. All right, let's go back down here and see what this one is. Yeah, the great ridged saber. It looked like this one, I believe. So we'll keep this one as our main farming tool now. We pretty much exhausted our fine steel, except for what we have locked up in here, which we ran out of stamina to smelt back down. So let's go ahead and rest. We'll smelt it down. We'll talk about the next step. All right, everything's smelted. There is a couple things we need to look at here. So we did unlock the pointed falchion blade. The reason this one is so unique is because it costs 3 wrought iron, which is the very, very low tier, but it is a tier 4 weapon part, which means it sells for a lot and it gives decent XP. We don't want to use this for farming. We're probably going to use the long Falx blade for farming, and this is also one of the best weapons in the game, so this would be one we would equip our main character and any companions we want to use two-handed with. So let's go ahead and spam out some pointed falchion blade so we can start making some money. Now, one thing we also want to do is probably stay away from using all the steel. Maybe keep everything wrought iron because we have just a tremendous amount of wrought iron right now. So let's go back down. Which ones cost wrought iron? And you can sometimes find some bargains, just like I showed you earlier. You'll have a tier 4 or a tier 3 that costs crafting materials that are 1 tier lower, and it's just out of place. They probably forgot to change it before they went live with it, but it's been that way for a long time. So it looks like it's going to be tier 3. I believe there's a tier 3 in here. No, it's all tier 2. That's fine. See, here's one. So this is a tier 3 that costs wrought iron. Everything else around it costs regular iron. So this is the discount right here. So we'll go with the discount. And I believe there's a tier 4. Yep, this tier 4 costs wrought iron. It's a really, really good weapon part. And we actually unlocked tier 5 parts. So we're almost done unlocking everything. And we're a little over an hour into our test here. So it's doable. It's a little slower than it was before, but it's still doable in a reasonable amount of time for at least one weapon category. If you had to do this for all, 12 or 14 of them, it would be an ungodly amount of time. So pick 1 or 2 weapon categories and stick with it. So let's go ahead and craft all these. We're going to end up selling these because we want to get rid of all our low tier stuff. We're limited on charcoal, so we can't really do a whole lot of refining. So essentially, we're just trying to get good value from this. And you get a little bit of XP from it as well, and part unlocks. Not a tremendous amount, but it's definitely better than 0. So these should sell about 6 to 8. Yeah, so not too bad. All right, we can sell enough of them. They have 4K left. I guess we could just sell it and move on, but we'll probably just keep it. We're not at the point yet where we can just throw stuff around. I did miss this Pugio. We'll pick that up. Nothing else here. Let's go to the next town. And I did miss that we picked up some perks. So as you can see, that last batch that we did gave us a ton of XP. I mean, we gained 2 levels in that one go. So let's see what we want. So it's either going to be refining or smelting. We're not going to be doing a lot of refining with this guy because remember we took the smelting and smithing perks. So we're mostly going to be doing smelting, and then this one gives you smithing. Although, since we're selling stuff, we'll probably take the trade penalty. But we'll get there soon. Now, this depends on how you want to build your character. If you're doing, obviously, ranged, you would go control. If you're doing melee, you're doing vigor. If you have both, I would probably recommend doing it on ranged, because I feel like higher tier ranged is better than a higher tier melee if you try to compare them side by side. But it's up to you, however you want to do it. We're going to go vigor in this case. And this one, increasing crafting stamina can be good, but unfortunately, he's going to he's going to recover faster than our companions. And it's kind of a pain to split. I'd rather just keep them all together. So we'll take the +5 party size. I think that'll be good for now. And we do have another person that can do Steelmaker. So here's another Steelmaker companion. Oddly enough, nobody's gained a level from this yet. So we should be doing it pretty soon, though. Yeah, this guy's getting close. Very, very close. Not so close. And of course, a tournament, it's another one of those noble horses. This one's not worth quite as much, 7,700, but again, we don't really need the money at this point. We're not doing it for the money. We're doing it more for the renown and the clan tier. We do need to raise our clan tier at some point. So we're going to be super wealthy with very, very tiny party. We're going to have a party size of 25, and we can afford, 4 army sizes. So we'll need to work on that at some point. But that's fine. We'll get there. Now, let's keep buying up the stuff. We need, again, Pugio, Tribesman Dagger. All you got to worry about. Pugio, Tribesman Dagger, and once in a while buy some hardwood. Not a lot of hardwood there, so we're going to go back to the original wooden hammers and pitchforks. So we'll supplement. Now, we're not going to craft smelt these weapons because these are the ones we're going to sell. These don't give as much XP as the other ones. I don't want to waste time doing these. We're going to only craft smelt with the really high tier stuff. So what we'll do is let's go ahead and burn through more of this wrought iron that we have. First, we do need to get some more hardwood because we did burn out of that. Yeah, so let's keep making a few of these, as many as we can. We should be running out of wrought iron fairly soon. Yeah, I know oftentimes I get questions as to, what's the most expensive weapon to craft so you can sell it? Honestly, it's not the most expensive that you need. It's the one that you can get the most out of, the most volume. You make more money with volume than you do getting a one-hitter quitter. So I would probably go for this one and then mix in those really expensive ones when you run out of that stuff. So let's keep going. 5 tribesmen. They don't have any Pugio here and no hardwood. Let's see. Probably just keep buying the wooden hammer. I really don't want to have to go back to Botania this far away. So hopefully we can survive without doing that. We should be able to burn through the last of this here. We've only got 40 left. And then we can really focus hard on the other stuff. I think we're for sure we're going to hit 1 million. There's no doubt about it. It's just a matter of how much sooner than 1 year can we hit it. We're barely in autumn, and we're already at the top tier. So this is a really good start. Now, we could sit here and wait for this tournament. If this was a legit playthrough, I would probably do that. But since we're trying to rush 1 million dinars, let's just skip it for now. And another tournament here, again, you would want to do these if this was a legit playthrough. We'll just pass it up for now. Pugio, you know the drill by now. Tribesmen, no hardwood, so we're going to have to keep buying wood hammers. And we want to make sure we sell stuff every time we go to, because we're going to have way more inventory than they have money. So make sure you sell everywhere you go. We're already up to 160, and that's before we even start using the top tier weapon parts. And what we're going to do here, let's go ahead and make that really good weapon and see what it sells for, because we do need to start using up these top tier as well. Let's just do that. Okay, everybody's sold out. This is probably gonna be about 20, 16. Actually, it's not as much as I thought. So as you can see, this uses way higher crafting materials. So it takes a little more than 2 of one of these dumpy swords to equal one of these really good swords. So you can see the value of using all these low crafting materials. Let's keep moving. We'll go south to Danustica. We'll make a full ring. This one's got some decent stuff. Tribesmen, Pugio, we got quite a few here. No hardwood, so again, we're just going to stack up. And we are completely out of charcoal, which is, again, very valuable to make sure you buy the hammers and the pitchforks so that you can afford to keep doing this without having to seek out the hardwood, because that's really one of the biggest bottlenecks, is having to stop and do that. It's really annoying. Yeah, here we go. More wooden hammer. All right, so we're pretty much capped out there. Let's keep making our loops. Let's see what kind of trouble we can get into here. Hopefully we can hit 1 million. Maybe, no, not half a year. Definitely not half a year. So at this point, it's kind of going to be rinse and repeat. At the, you know, we're literally buying Pugio, we're buying Tribesmen's, we're buying anything we could smelt down for hardwood, and then we're going town to town and selling. We're not doing anything else. So let's get rid of our expensive stuff first. I think that's good. Get some of the cheaper ones out. Spend a little bit of time resting and smelting. I think we'll do regular. We'll check in a little bit once in a while, but I don't want to take too much time doing this because it's mostly rinse and repeat. Trade penalty halved for smith weapons is going to be quite good because again, we want to make as much money as we can as fast as we can. Stamina spent for smithing in half is pretty good if you're spamming stuff out, but at this point, it's probably overkill. And I think this one's going to net us a little bit more. And one of our companions did get a nice level 16. So we got an attribute and a focus point to spend. We'll put it in the smithing category. Debatable if you want to do that or put it into something a little bit more useful. For this campaign, we're going to do that because we're just trying to make as much money as we can. Okay, so interestingly enough, we have a lot of iron now, and we don't have a whole lot of steel, and we have very limited charcoal. So what we're going to do now is let's switch stuff off. We want to spend more iron, so let's just make a pure iron, anything that costs only iron. Now we could min-max and try and find that perfect little match, see if you can get a discount. I would probably do this in a legit campaign. At this point, we're just going to stick anything that's iron. I don't really care what it is. I don't care how much it's going to give us. We just want to get rid of the iron. And same thing with the blade. Let's just pick something that uses only iron, no steel. So this is going to be a tier 2. And if I recall, the tier 2 blade was the iron saber was pretty good. So we'll just spam these out. Let's actually check and see what that's worth. 3 grand is not too bad considering the other ones. Oh, wow. Actually, remember these were worth, I believe, 7 or 8K. Now they're worth 11 because we took that perk. So that's really good. And these are only worth 4K. Maybe it's not worth it. Maybe we should just get rid of that stuff and only focus on the wrought iron ones. Maybe that's a good idea. But this town's broke. Let's move to the next one. This place does have a decent amount of hardwood, so we'll buy all that up. And I think what we're going to try and do, we'll do another round of pitchforks and hammers if they have it. And we are running dangerously low on food. Let's buy some more food. And we're pretty severely overburdened. I didn't realize that. Luckily, it didn't hamper us too badly. But let's try and offload some stuff. Let's get rid of the cheaper things first. 60K, we're almost to 300K. And again, winter 1 is basically the midway point between the years. So we're half a year and we're already 1/3 of the way there, just about. This is going to be no problem. 1 year is probably too long of a horizon. But again, if you're just barely starting this game out, you can for sure do it in a year. You know, you can make a few mistakes here. It'll slow you down, but you'll still get there. Right, so we did a couple towns worth of craft smelting and selling stuff. We're doing pretty good. We're at 400K. We're only a couple days further along than when we last spoke, but I think we're going to hit it really soon here. So I wanted to just give you a quick update. Let's try and... The key here is to try and match selling what you have so that they have as close to 0 as possible. You obviously don't want to go over, and if you go under, you're just leaving money on the table. So we'll just try and go right up to that limit. And I think at this point, we're going to make our way up to Sanon so we can get plenty of hardwood. 500K, winter 6. So we're not quite through. We still got about 15 days left of this month and 21 days of the next month before we have to hit 1 million. So we're for sure in good shape here. Let's head up to Sanon. Now we're in kind of an awkward spot. We have a big need of wrought iron and a big need of fine steel and steel, but we have a ton of iron, and I don't think... Actually, these guys can convert iron into... That actually is not a problem. I'm an idiot. So we're just trying to be as efficient as we can here, and I'm slipping up a little bit. So we'll use this guy to convert the rest. We'll spend a little bit of time creating some of these really high tier weapons. And we could also, since we don't need crude iron for anything, we can convert this stuff. We have plenty of charcoal right now, and we're in a good spot to use it all. So I think what we'll do is just spend some time boosting this stuff up. Yeah, here we go. We can make a ton of these blades now. This is going to put us over the edge for sure. All right, so I think we've used up just about everything we need to here, and we are somewhat low on hardwood and charcoal. So let's visit maybe one of the wood villages here. Yeah, look at that. 37 for 16 Denars. Very cheap. Not that pricing makes a difference. Let's continue our loop. We'll do that loop one more time. All right, I'm not seeing any Pugio or Tribesman daggers. So what we're going to do is we're going to try and shift a little bit and see. We do have some Pugio left over from the previous one. So the Zephos will get plenty of wrought iron. And we do still have some Tribesmen, so that's fine. But this is the one I was worried about. Okay, so this one gives us a little bit of wrought iron. So we can buy those from towns now and just use those to craft. And then the Ziffo, same thing, 2 and 2. That's not bad. And again, we can use our level 50 guys to refine, push it all up to steel. And then we're very close to having somebody that can do fine steel. So that'll help. Although we are low on charcoal and hardwood. So actually, maybe we'll hold off on that. Let's just convert all this over. Let's build as many of our money makers as we can. The pointed falchion blade. Love this blade, man. Probably not all that great in combat, but really, really good on the market. All of Calradia is going to be using one of these things soon. It's going to be like the McDonald's of Calradia. There we go. We got somebody up to level 75. So now we can get Steelmaker 2. So now we can make our fine steel. Exactly what we want. So now we can make use of that iron, steel, and then into fine steel now. Ooh, and I almost forgot to sell before we left. So let's sell some of these. Yeah, these guys have a lot of money. We'll go over just a little bit here, and we do need a little bit of food, so let's buy some food. All right, 659k, winter 11. So again, we're not even in the last month yet, so we're gonna hit it before the last month. This is gonna be 3 months. Next town does have a Pugio, not too many. We'll buy some of these so we can get those lower tier. Yeah, I think we'll try that out and see if we can spam enough of these blades. These towns are actually having a lot of money. 700 or 72 grand is quite a lot. And on to Argoron we go. All right, so we're in Argoron now. Okay, we're starting to see some Pugio now, so we can do both. I think we can do both pretty safely. The biggest limiting factor here is going to be hardwood. So again, I think we should still look for these wooden hammers. I know we're kind of at the end where we shouldn't have to, but unfortunately it is what it is. So. And this town doesn't have that much money, so actually we have a lot of weapons. We can't even get rid of them all. I think we're making more than we we're making more than we can sell. Our output is definitely exceeding our ability to sell. So let's travel to a few towns, and that'll give us a chance to stock up on some stuff here. Ooh, they do have some hardwood, so there you go. All right, I don't think we're gonna have to go to too many more towns. We're at 821, and we have probably enough in our inventory to really sell through, but I don't know. Maybe we'll go for 2 million. I don't know. We'll see. All right, we're at 933, and we still have a massive inventory of blades. We haven't crafted anything in the last two towns. So I think what we're going to do is finish this last one up. I don't know if we'll go for 2 million. We probably could do it, but I think you guys get the point. Oh, we're so close. 985. We'll go to one more town. Yeah, they got more than enough to satisfy what we got. All right, 77k, that's going to put us at 1.06 million, and we still have a ton of stuff. 200 and 250k here. We have enough materials to make another set of these probably, so we probably have at least 1.5 million here if we smelt stuff down. Yeah, so as you can see, there's nothing advanced that we did here. It's basically just moving town to town, buying stuff. You kind of have to know a little bit about what to buy, but if you follow exactly what I did, you for sure can do this yourself, even if you're on your first or second playthrough. You can be a millionaire before your first year in Calradia, have plenty of money to splash around. You can buy all the equipment and troops you want. So I hope this was helpful. Let me know if you like these types of guides. I can do more like these, or I can go back to doing the heavily edited stuff. I can get more of these out per week. The heavily edited stuff, I can do one per week because they take a lot of time. So let me know what you think. I appreciate your time, and we'll see you on the next one.